Bewildered cops are investigating after a pensioner appeared to spontaneously combust during a quiet Sunday afternoon walk. Horrified passersby desperately tried to douse the flames after John Nolan, 70, mysteriously caught fire near Tottenham Hotspur's White Hart Lane Stadium in North London. John Nolan, 70, mysteriously burst into flames while out for a Sunday afternoon walk near his home in Tottenham, North London. The retired construction worker, from County Mayo, Ireland, was airlifted to a specialist hospital in Chelmsford, Essex, with burns to 65% of his body, but sadly died from his injuries the next day. Police are yet to establish what caused the fire, and an investigation by the London Fire Brigade found there was no accelerant on the pensioner. Mr. Nolan had been walking along Orchard Place just a few streets away from his home in Tottenham at about 1 p.m. on September 17 when he went up in flames. A post-mortem examination gave his cause of death as severe burns, and an inquest will open at Barnet Coroner's Court in March next year. Spontaneous combustion is said to be when an object bursts into flames due to a chemical reaction from within without being ignited by an external heat source. PC Damien A. Tamer said, "We have spoken with a number of witnesses who saw Mr. Nolan ablaze, but we have yet to establish how the fire started. Mr. Nolan was a well-liked member of the community, and none of our inquiries so far have indicated that he had been involved in a dispute of any sort. Nor does any account given by witnesses suggest that he had been in contact with another person at the time of the fire. No arrests have been made, and his death is being treated as unexplained." The idea that humans can spontaneously combust is viewed with skepticism by scientists, and no one has ever conclusively proven or disproven the idea. There have been hundreds of accounts of human spontaneous combustion, though the first dating back to 1663, when a woman in Paris apparently went up in ashes and smoke while sleeping. In cases of spontaneous human combustion, the bodies are said to be burned beyond recognition aside from the extremities, while the property surrounding the person tends to remain intact too. Theories vary, with one of the most popular being that it's caused by a buildup of methane in the intestines which is ignited by enzymes. Others have speculated that it's a result of a buildup of static electricity inside the body, while the theory it's caused by excessive amounts of alcohol in the body became widely known after Charles Dickens killed off a character by spontaneous human combustion in Bleak House. Some scientists have proposed the possible explanation as a wick effect, which suggests that smoking a cigarette could act like an inside-out candle. Source: HowStuffWorks.com. Mr. Nolan's family spoke of their heartbreak as they paid tribute shortly after his death. His brother-in-law Tom Byrne told the Irish Post John wouldn't hurt so much as a butterfly. In fact, he'd find a way to bring the butterfly home and care for it. He was a gentleman who would do anything you asked of him. Emergency services raced to Orchard Place in Tottenham, North London, where Mr. Nolan was ablaze. The Irishman had followed his sister Mary from Swinford to London in the 1960s, before their three other siblings followed. Mr. Nolan worked in the construction industry until the 1980s, when he suffered a stroke, which forced him to retire. Friends remember him as a very kind and softly spoken man, who kept himself to himself. They said he was a regular smoker who walked with a shuffle but who otherwise seemed to be in good health. John O'Donovan, Advice and Support Officer at Haringey Irish Cultural and Community Centre, told Sun Online, "It's just so bizarre. We were all very shocked. John had a stroke a few years back and quite a bad speech impediment, but he was a great listener and you'd often see him laughing at people cracking jokes. He had a brilliant sense of humor. He has his own mobility problems, but there is another gentleman here who he would go and visit, and he was absolutely devastated when John died. Like John, there's a lot of single men here, so it's a real community, and they've been really shocked by his death. His brother doesn't understand what's gone on, and we would just like to know what happened to him." Cops stop half-naked woman walking in street wearing tiny shorts. Harrods shoppers snap up £950 a spinal of London bags for £8 in website glitch. No. Family turn up to inquest of boy, 7, who froze to death outside home. Snow set to blanket Britain again today as temperatures plummet. Winning Euro Millions numbers for Friday, December 15. £110 million jackpot. Accountant caught stealing £2.5 million after driving to work in £150,000 Ferrari. One neighbour recalled how they bonded over a shared love of animals and said Mr. Nolan had a three-legged dog, which he rescued after another man passed away. Pam McGuigan added he never passed without a hello, a good morning or a good evening. He was always pleasant to everyone, and you never heard him say a cross word to anybody. Another neighbor said he was very nice, describing how she came to hear the tragic news. She said, I went to church on the Sunday morning and when I came back the police were knocking at the door. They were asking if I'd seen John and I said I had seen him the day before. I thought he must have gone missing, you know, because he was quite old and when you get old sometimes your mind goes, and I thought perhaps he's disappeared. The next day I went to the post office and said the police had been looking for John and the woman in there said to me, oh, haven't you heard? Someone set him on fire. I couldn't believe it. Who would do that to an old man? And how did nobody see it? It happened in the middle of the day and he's an old man. Anyone who witnessed the incident but has yet to speak with police is urged to call PC Damien.